Chuck that in water. Litre of water. Bit of a mix.
I think the other big one is potassium as well.
Yeah.
For hydration. See, that's got the salts in, but yeah. Yeah, that last episode on profit was quite a good one.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway that people listening need to make is reviewing costs in the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a regular basis. Like listening back to that, I felt like that is something I would emphasise. And it's remarkable because you'd be shocked. Like I've reviewed a few different big costs in our business, and I have saved the business like 65 grand a year with one of the things that I've tweaked.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Which it's mad.
And
Obviously, we're at scale, so it's like that. But it's all proportional. If you're a pub and you review your merchant card fees or your something that economies of scale, it will match up. It'll be a proportion of your revenue that makes a cost that makes a big
huge difference.
So, anyway, that was last week's episode. If you're tuning in, we're on episode 14. We're in double digits.
Big time now. Big time now.
Yeah. Wait till we're in triple digits. We're turning up suited and booted.
Wait until this sofa's full with
have you
guests.
got a Rolex yet, Tom?
No, I've still got my Garmin.
Yeah, no. Maybe one day we'll get a podcast Rolex. Make it to the big time. Jokes. Well, I think this is it's just a fun little session that we do once a month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're enjoying it. I hope I'm enjoying it. Hopefully, the listeners are enjoying it too and taking some value from.
Funny thing is, do you get any anxiety or stress about coming here now?
No, I used to. Like first
2 episodes. Two filming days.
2 filming days did. Whereas last night, nothing. Just went to bed as normal. Yeah. Woke up as normal. Sorted myself out, normal morning routine, ready to go. And here we are.
It's interesting, that, isn't it?
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's just becoming it's more?
We've become comfortable doing the uncomfortable.
And that was one of the episodes we did actually do as well, didn't we? Oh, there you go.
We were talking about how well, I think it might have been episode 2, but like doing stuff that you don't really want to do.
Yeah, I think
we've definitely developed a skill set.
Yeah, and the only way to develop that is to actually physically do things like this, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. The next thing I need to do with this podcast, because I mean, this is like it's like a crown jewel.
Yeah.
From a personal brand perspective, and trying to like push my business forward into and create opportunities for us and all the rest of it. Because what we want to do is opportunities come to us off the back of this. Like suppliers or brands might say, "Oh, I've seen your podcast. It's really interesting."
You know what? I've actually had 2 or even 3 people, suppliers, reach out and say, I've seen you on this podcast. I've listened to whichever episode it might have been at the time. It's great, well done. Like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be able to do that. And you know what? We were in that position 4 months ago before we started doing this. Whereas now it's sort of
maybe just sets you apart slightly.
Yeah.
If you think about, say your suppliers are dealing with the rep from whatever brand is dealing with 20 different things.
You're just another customer.
You're just another customer. Whereas if you're like forefront, you go, it's Tom from that business podcast.
You'll always be front of mind because with the way the algorithms work. If they're on LinkedIn, I know there's regular posts off yourself. I repost them. Yeah. So they're going to get pushed out. The algorithm will push and get in everyone's feeds that are connections or 1 or 2 connections beyond what we are. Yeah. Same thing with TikTok. I've had friends just gone back playing cricket recently and not seen a few of them for 12 months. Yeah, First thing, 2 of them actually said, "You're all over my TikTok feed." I was like, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Oh, that'll be the podcast that I'm doing with Matt, British Business with Matt Holland." I said, I'm just there. I'm the support act. I'm not the... But yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I think it's great. I think it's been great for both of us personally. But I've been surprised at the number of people. And actually, I'm quite introvert and shy, so this has been difficult for me. So people like complimenting me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you play it down.
It just makes me feel a bit awkward.
You should be proud of it.
I'm proud of myself for doing it, and I think I'll become more confident with it over time. But yeah, just a bit kind of like, I don't know. It's weird. It's still a bit unusual. I think the next step for me with this is I need to start. I want to produce some like supplementary content for like YouTube and also Instagram, where I'm just talking to the camera. Yeah. Maybe like 60-second like videos or like maybe 3 minutes on just a particular, like, oh, this week we've got episode 13 coming out. So for this week, episode 14, we're talking about pricing.
Okay, good.
Now, it's not in relation to profit, it's about psychology of pricing and stuff like that. It's quite a meaty subject. But I could do a little snippet on that.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm really uncomfortable doing it. But the evidence is that by doing the podcast, I've become comfortable with this, so I need to just do that.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Just keep doing it.
So hopefully, when this episode comes out, maybe I will start producing some bits and pieces. But it's time, the thing that we cannot buy. That's the problem.
Yeah, finite resource.
Finite resource. So there we are. So yeah, today's episode, pricing.
Yes.
So getting it wrong will break you. So it's a link. It kind of, this flows in nicely after talking about profit. The kind of the two episodes are like interlinked.
Yeah, definitely.
But this now we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of potentially pricing a bit more aggressively, the psychological impact it can have on the consumer and the customer.
Yeah.
But then also like how you price things.
Yeah.
Like whether you have an SRP or an RRP and what have you, and like whether or not it like discounting can devalue your brand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just
there are many challenges with pricing.
Yeah. It's quite an interesting one. So how to stop undervaluing your business and start charging properly. So a part of it is like actually respecting yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're in a service-based business, making sure you're charging the right amount. That's key, because you can overprice things really easily. And how can you add additional value to your consumer or your target customer without charging them more? Yeah. Things like that. So opening hook, ChatGPT friendly, you know.
Yeah. What they saying?
Yeah. It's, do you know what? I can't believe how much I'm using ChatGPT for my work now.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like,
brilliant. What sort of things are you using it for? Emails?
All kinds of stuff. Like, I'm dyslexic, so when I write an email, it is a mess.
Yeah. It's telling ChatGPT, make this make sense, please. Basically.
That's what I get it to do, and it just sorts it out for me.
Put it in proper English.
It's saving me so much time.
And stress.
Yeah, well, yeah. So say if I've got a complex email that I'm typing and I need to articulate myself in a particular way, I'm good at verbally communicating.
Yeah.
That's what I'm good at. But when I try and verbally communicate in writing, it just doesn't flow as well.
Yeah.
And I'm rushing because time's really important to me. So I have to I write something out, then I have to read it, then I have to tweak it. I have to go through this process like 10 times.
Yeah.
So I'd spend an hour writing an email that would take an eloquent, non-dyslexic person 15 minutes to write.
Yeah.
So I'm saving, so the cost is like 40 quid a month for ChatGPT.
Yeah. Think of the time saving.
And the business is getting some serious return on investment in that.
Yeah, massive.
So there was one email the other day where it's to do with a negotiation, a deal I'm working on at the moment, potentially buying something or like acquiring something, and we're having some negotiations, and I wanted to articulate myself in a particular way. So just pasted the thread of the email exchange that I've been having with this particular individual, and I was like, can you write me a response to this thread?
Yeah.
I would like to reiterate point X. I'd like to raise this as a particular point, and this is what I've written as a draft, but it's a bit of a mess. You tidy it up and it just goes boom.
Brilliant.
In my tone of voice.
Yeah.
It's honestly AI.
It's game changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone needs to be at the forefront of.
I feel like we should rename the podcast Business and AI or AI in Business, because we talk about it so much.
Yeah. It's the future, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Scary.
It's certainly what people want to consume right now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Look at when the internet first came along, everyone was like, oh, not sure about this, fad, this, that, and the other. This future of AI, where we are right now, that's the next thing, isn't it?
Mad. Yeah. It's crazy. And I think a lot about Arthur and Tilly and the impacts it's going to have on their lives. It's going to be insane.
Can you imagine if somebody's not using AI in business against another business that's using AI?
They are at such a disadvantage.
What do you reckon the adoption rate is right now for people using AI within business? I bet it's not a high percentage, you know.
I think 5%.
Yeah, I'd have said sub 10, so yeah, 5.
But you know what? I've actually heard, I've got a couple of different friends in different industries, and they've got, like, the companies are now starting to adopt, like, in-house AIs where all the data's kept within one server, so it helps with privacy. Because obviously when you talk with ChatGPT, like, it's learning from all the information you're giving it.
Yeah, you're prompting it. Yeah.
But you can actually create kind of closed system AIs. So if you're a company with really sensitive information, you still want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, no, I think, interestingly, big business is leveraging AI very successfully, and then start-up young solo entrepreneurs or new businesses are leveraging AI. It's everyone in the middle.
It's that bit in between.
Us and our audience are probably not leveraging AI as much as they could.
For what reason? We don't understand it, don't
because
know how to use it.
We're going, well, what's working at the moment isn't bad. We're profitable. We're making money. I'm used to my life.
What do they need to do then?
They need to adapt. What they need to do is they need to have a play. They need to have a conversation with ChatGPT or Grok on X or whichever one you want to have a go with. I'm subscribed personally. I've paid for X Grok. And that's really interesting. And then the business is paying for my ChatGPT because I use that a lot for work.
Yes.
But the X Grok one, that's interesting because it's a different personality.
That's interesting.
I quite like Grok.
Which one do you prefer?
I think I prefer Grok.
Okay, right, that's really interesting then.
But I use ChatGPT more at the moment. What I need to do, actually, it's about, so to answer Morgan's question in terms of like, how do you implement AI into your business? Just start playing with it, start chatting to it, chuck some bits and pieces it. We've all got idle time in our day.
Yeah.
Like, I would just start off with, if you're writing an email to a supplier or a customer and you just want to sense check how you've done it, ask ChatGPT to proof it.
Yeah.
And ask ChatGPT to make some suggestions to tweak it. That's a really easy thing to do. And then the more advanced things, like obviously I've downloaded the transcripts of all the podcast episodes that we shot, we've filmed and what have you, and then I've uploaded them into ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And it scanned all the transcript, basically effectively listened to or watched the video and then given us prompts. Yeah. That's like layer 2. That's so you can get a lot out of it. But anyway, this episode is not about AI.
We can do one on AI, definitely.
We need to. And I think actually in a year's time, we'll be so, it's almost like we should do probably a quarterly episode on AI in business.
Yeah. And how we're utilising it within your business.
Well, we're on episode 14, so maybe episode 17 or 18 we'll do an AI.
Okay, good.
Next filming day, I think that'll be good. And we're going to start getting some guests on as well.
Ooh, nice.
That's going to be another change. So we'll have some different guests coming onto the podcast, which will be good. Working on that. Anyway, so pricing. So opening hook, British business fact. So I've never heard of this before. So Rolls Razor undercut everyone in price in the 1960s and still went bust. So...
Well, never heard of them.
Never heard of them, yeah.
In 1960s.
So British entrepreneur John Bloom built a washing machine empire by offering the lowest price.
Yeah.
So, but his razor-thin margins collapsed with the slightest disruption, a postal strike. So his business was operating obviously on a very slim margin.
Yeah.
And that links back to last week's episode about profit and being aware that you might be on a trend going upwards, going through loads of revenue growth and all the rest of it. But if you're not making enough money, as soon as you have a little blip, you're not got enough cash behind you, things can change. You start losing money very aggressively. So what happened? Cheap prices, rapid scale, no margin buffer.
Yeah, that's all it is, isn't it? Buffer.
So he's making washing machines, razor thin margin.
Yeah.
Things change. His costs went up or whatever happened. Yeah.
Postal strike finished him.
Yeah. So mistaking customer growth for long-term profitability. So the fallout, business collapse within a few years. Lesson: if pricing doesn't cover your risks, one bump in the road is all it takes. So, yeah, you've got to have that little buffer, that little profit. But the main thing that we're going to cover off today is like this. So discussion segments, the psychology of pricing. What message does your pricing send about your value?
Yeah.
So we're in online retail.
Yes.
This is really interesting because I've had conversations, like we've changed accountants in the last few years, and our previous accountants, good people, I'm not going to name them, but had a good relationship for quite a long period of time, and we just decided we wanted a change.
Yeah.
We just wanted to, maybe the business, I don't know, had outgrown them a little bit perhaps, but they were banging on all the time about pricing, how you need to prioritise selling at a higher price to give yourself a higher gross profit.
Right.
Don't go after the volume, go after the profit.
The margin.
But the problem is in our industry, as you know, online retail, we don't have control over the price. The price is what the consumer is willing to pay, and or the competitors are
setting the market price.
So we just have to be competitive.
Yeah.
Our pricing policy is be competitive. But this episode is more about business more broadly.
Yeah.
And actually it's about, say, a business which is offering a service, and it's about how you price your service in relation to what you're offering.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really interesting concept, that kind of like balance between, okay, so if you price it really highly, you close off your audience.
Yeah.
If you price it too lowly, is it too low? Lowly, that's not a word.
Yeah, no, lowly is not a word, I don't think. That's ChatGPT.
But if you put your pricing too low, then do you even put off customers?
Yeah,
because they're like,
you see, it's too cheap.
Yeah, it's too cheap.
And they also will associate quality with that price. Exactly. And think clearly that's a lower quality product than what the next product is.
But then if the rest of your marketing and your brand feels high quality, it can be like a perfect recipe.
Yes.
So you don't want to overprice yourself. You don't want to underprice yourself. It needs to be right. But what is the right price?
Well, this is what we're here to talk about.
So I think like a key thing for me is like understanding your market and your competitors.
Yes.
And doing your market research and understanding what other people are offering.
Yeah.
And how you are kind of portraying what your offering is.
Mm-hmm. So
like, I think you almost want to like get a bit of a Google sheet open. Put all of your, so and you can do secret shopping, can't you? And do some door knocking and stuff, or you can ask friends, can you ask for a quote on that tree surgeon? I mean, that type of work's a nightmare, because how do you price different jobs and all the rest of it?
Yeah, well, you're not selling the same products, are you? It's not a physical product, it's a service in which they're selling, and every tree is different that needs trimming or taking down, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Different complexities.
And that comes down to like labour cost and
time.
Yeah, and that the kind of building trade and that kind of stuff. Actually, those guys, to a certain degree, they can, if they're really busy, they can put their prices up, slow themselves down a little
choke
bit.
The demand.
Choke the demand.
It's true. I think the pricing, it's different. The pricing structure is different between a service-based business, which is selling a service, which is generally someone's, skill set, whether it's a tree surgeon, an accountant, or anything like that, and you determine a price based on that, or you're selling a product, either a product you've manufactured, so you know what the raw cost and the raw material cost is to make that product, or you're selling, like what we do, other people's products, where there is a set cost price with maybe a little bit of discount here and there, but very much there's a going rate for that product in the market. Whereas there is a less so in a service-based business, because it's based off demand, location, skill set, that's available, or what they've got available.
And actually, it's that debate and kind of thing in your head where you perhaps need to. So you look at your competitors and you go, right, so they're pricing at £100 a month for this particular service. These guys are pricing at £200. Where do you want to position yourself as a business? Do you want to position yourself in the premium market, the mid market, or the low market?
Yeah.
And obviously, low market's going to give you lots of volume opportunities.
Yeah.
But then in certain industries, volume might not be what you want.
No.
So like for us, for retail, volume is where we're in. We're in volume. We're in economies of scale is what matters. But if you're a business consultant for a particular industry, do you want to be offering lower end pricing? It depends where you're at in terms of your abilities as well as a consultant, because if you're a high quality consultant, you need to have that awareness.
Yeah.
If you're getting started and you need to actually get a few customers, then maybe pricing it a bit low and mid, but then the quality of those customers is probably going to be lower because of your pricing.
Yeah.
Which means then the likelihood of them being able and willing to implement the consultancy work so you inherently almost want to charge a bit more of a premium, but then offer great value so you retain your customers. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I've got a friend interested. He's gone into consultancy, marketing it is, and getting into the market, he was charging I think it was £250 a day for his services. Managed to recruit a few customers like that, and I think now some of his more premium customers, he's charging £550, £600 a day.
Yeah.
Same hours worked, they got him for 8 hours. He's just charging a different daily rate.
Yeah.
And he's able to do that based on obviously more experience, more skill set, and tailoring his prices to what that customer's willing to pay.
That's the key. I think looking at your target customer, not just like the broad target customer.
No.
Who do you actually want to be your customer? Do you want your customer to be the person that is just kind of scraping through and making it?
Yeah.
They're probably gonna maybe not pay the bills on time.
No, yeah.
Or do you want it to be someone that's doing really well and you're the catalyst to spur them on?
Yeah,
or provide the service to deliver even more level of profitability. And also understanding that if you price it too high, it could be the case that they can afford it for a short period of time.
Yeah.
But then if it's not working, you're open to more criticism.
Yes.
And you could end up being chopped.
Yeah, you'd be the first one to go.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
So if you're targeting other businesses with your pricing, you almost want those businesses want stability because they might be taking a long view with it.
Yeah.
So like you might be tempted, I've been working with this client for say 6-9 months. Do you know what? Costs have gone up and all the rest of it. I'm going to put 10% on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my prices up for him, that particular client or whatever. But then it's like, well, wait, hold on a minute. That he might go, do you know what? I'm going to go out to market. It might be the thing that nudges that client to go. I'm going to go and see what else is out there.
Yeah.
And then you've got that competitor that's in a different life cycle to you.
Yeah. They might be entering the market.
They might be entering the market and price it. So you've got to, it's so difficult.
Yeah. Especially in that service-based business.
Yeah.
Because you're trading time for money in the consultancy business, aren't you?
Yeah.
And obviously the value you add is based on your skill set that you've acquired over a number of years. You need a fair exchange for that experience, though.
Yeah.
Don't you? In terms of, right, well, I'm actually going to bring a lot to the table here, so I want some return back for that.
Yeah.
And on that basis, that's how you need to price it.
And it's like pricing in relation to friction as well. So if you're making everything easy for your customer and you're removing barriers and everything else, then it's very easy to potentially turn the dial slightly and increase price.
Yeah.
But if there's friction points and challenges, say you're being a consultant to X or Y, but you're saying, well, I can only do this or that and all the rest of it. And it's like, right, you then put your price up slightly. It's like, do you know what I mean? So you've got to have that self-awareness of like how you're pitching, if that makes sense, and understand the market. Yeah, you might be the cheapest, but cheap isn't necessarily, might not be what they're looking for. So
look at it from the perspective of, let's say, our businesses, e-commerce, and we use external agencies for PPC, SEO, retention potentially. Yeah. And look at the costs that are within that industry. Pick the SEO industry, for example. Right? A lot of people are paying pretty hefty retainers, monthly basis, for delivery of work to obviously help try and increase natural traffic to their website.
Performance marketing, they've got goals, KPIs that they're working to improve.
Yeah, and how is that price structure created for an agency that is charging? I don't know what you're paying. And I know what we're paying. We're paying $2,500 a month, something like that, for SEO services. And you think, where's that number come from?
Because you. X amount of time to do this, time to do that, what impact it has on the business, what potential commercial return you're going to get, etc. But say that relationship you've been running with that, say, SEO partner for 6, 9, 12 months, getting to the 12-month mark, and they're like, probably put our prices up a little bit because everything's going on. You've got to understand your customer and go, well, actually, is it right to put the prices up? Do we value that revenue and trade with that partner? Because they might be thinking, and it's about delivery of results as well.
Delivery of results, I think take that long-term view. Yeah. Keep that customer for lifetime value. Might be 10 years, you don't know, do you?
But if you're delivering tremendous success and it's going fantastically well, and you know that, you kind of, if you know that your customer's doing well, can you charge them more? Kind of thing. It's that difficult conundrum you face, but ultimately it comes back to value.
Yeah. What are you going to bring to the table and add value?
What the value is. We've recently tweaked things with a certain partner that we're working with, and I think you going through that reset, to pivot on its other end and managing third parties, third party businesses, keep them on the toes. That's something you can do. But these third parties need to be aware that sometimes you're only as good as your last month.
Yeah, true.
It's dog eat dog. So you need to make sure you're competitive with pricing, I think, but offer value. Yeah, that's key.
Drive results, yeah.
Yeah, but quality of service.
Yeah, that's a big thing as well, isn't it?
So if your quality of service is fantastic, and like your customers don't have to do anything, you just everything's provided to them timely. Like the worst thing that can happen is you're chasing a third party for something. It's like
I think that is when the relationship's out of balance, and you might be disgruntled with a service you've been provided with, and you're chasing for this, and that's wrong. Can you fix that? It's like that to me is the start of a downward spiral in terms of that relationship, isn't it? But
I think we just with the whole pricing thing, there's a temptation for businesses to put prices up in line with inflation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, especially at the moment, like the last episode, we were ranting about how much we're all paying in tax and all the rest of it. Flip side of that is that these independent businesses, they need to put the prices up because
of it.
Yeah. So it's like it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, your hand is forced to do it. As long as the rest of the market, where pricing falls in, you need to price in line with that market.
Yeah.
So if your competitor is increasing their prices, that's an opportunity for you also to increase prices, to gain that little bit of extra margin, to add that buffer in for the bumps in the road that will be coming along.
But equally, you might want to price some of your difficult customers out.
Yeah. Drown them out of the market.
Say if you've got 10 clients,
yeah,
and one of them is just they're a fucking pain in the arse.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'd rather have 9 or 8 good clients rather than these 10. So I don't want to acquire any new customers.
No.
I'm just going to put my prices up by 10% this year.
Yeah.
And say this is my pricing. And then that way you might end up pricing out bad customers.
Yeah.
Slow payers, etc. Or if they stay, you're just making more money.
Yeah.
So it depends where you are in your journey. If you're early on and you're trying to acquire customers, you need to be uber competitive, offer fantastic value.
Yeah.
It needs to be on the customer's terms. You need to kind of crawl over broken glass and have your face on the sandbelt. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you absolutely have to.
And just deal with it.
Yeah.
And then pivot it so that you've got 10, you're de-risked, and then actually, well, it's on these terms and this is the way it works.
Yeah.
And then if that customer then chooses to go out to market and shop around, that's their choice. That's their prerogative.
Yeah. But you've shown you can add value. And that's where like dynamic pricing comes in. Like, for example, carrier pricing. I know you've got a carrier, I've got a carrier. We share the same carrier actually. And I bet you're paying a different price than I am.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And location's not too different. Volume's probably not too dissimilar. But yet I might be paying more than what you're paying, or you might be paying more than what I'm paying. Yeah. And that's because the carriers saw, well, we can probably support here with a bit of a cheaper price, but we'll make it back up over here with this other customer.
Yeah.
And that will be happening widespread in every service, won't it? Any software is a service.
And maybe that particular carrier or that third party, they've taken a view that like they want the business or the trade, and or they're worried about their revenue. Because that's the other thing is like when we're talking about, so you want to put your prices up, but if you need the customers and the customers are willing to walk away and go elsewhere, then you can't put your prices up.
No.
So you're kind of trapped.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting, like the psychology of pricing.
How about pricing, let's say, products within industry, for example, what we do, or what anyone else does, where they're selling a physical product and they are, in effect, like we are, maybe a middleman, a distributor on behalf of a brand or a product that's being imported into the country. Generally with us, we've got a set retail price, haven't we, in terms of where the brand is telling us that is our RRP, so our recommended retail price.
Yeah.
There's no laws that you have to stick to that retail price.
No.
But that is what they are saying. That's where we see the price. And they generally work their margin back off that, don't they?
Yeah.
So they give us a cost price based off the retail price, which obviously incorporates their costs and their margin. So that's what we're going to be paying. We might get a little bit of a discount here and there to assist based on volumes bought, or the business relationship you've got with that company, or an early settlement. If you're going to pay an invoice early, you might get an extra 3, 4, 5% discount, which all helps to your cost price. So then where does that sit? We're being told this is the retail price. The rest of the market's potentially going to be selling it for that. So then you need to differentiate yourself in a different way, don't you, to attract the customer and get the customer to buy from you.
Yeah.
And that's where maybe discounting comes in.
Yeah.
And offering a better price than anyone in the market.
Well, yeah, it goes back to that like acquisition cost and like profitability and things like that. And it's about pricing things in the right way. I think I bet there's a proportion of our audience that they've approached a client, done the marketing, put proposals together, and the client's gone, yeah, no worries. And then they're sat there thinking, fucking hell, I should have charged more.
Yeah.
But it's easy to kind of take that view and go, well, I could be charging this person more for this.
Yeah.
But actually, you might not have won the deal.
No.
You might have gone elsewhere.
No.
There might be friction points that you're not aware of. So it's
Yeah.
like that kind of like looking over the other side of the fence. The grass ain't always greener.
No.
It might not have been better. Do you know what I mean? So that's the challenge that they face. Okay, yeah. So I think the main takeaway point I would make there is that in one hand, you shouldn't be afraid of pricing high in relation to value if you're busy. Right. So if you've got a number of clients and you're at that thing, then you can start increasing your margin by increasing prices steadily. But if you're at that point in your business, your service business where you need to acquire customers and you want growth, inherently your pricing is going to be more competitive.
Very much so.
And it's like that pivot point in your business or your career where you go, do you know what? I'm not going to go after volume anymore. I don't want to employ more people. I don't want to do more. I want to be more profitable.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's a fork in the road that you face, really.
Yeah, it will do. Ultimately,
quite a big one.
Yeah.
Like that. It's that point in your entrepreneurial journey where enough is enough.
Yeah.
I've got enough problems to deal with.
Yeah.
I don't want more problem customers.
Yeah, I can just charge more and try and generate more profit from the existing output.
Exactly. Yeah, it's big enough now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not there yet, are we?
No, definitely not. And I think within our industry, when you're selling other people's products, I think volume, you need to have volume to scale.
Yeah,
you need
to scale.
You need to get to scale ultimately. And coming back to pricing, you have to offer value in order to scale in our industry. And then you make your margin, obviously in between your cost price and your selling price, but you need to be as efficient as you can below the line in order to make a reasonable profit.
Interesting question in relation to that is, are you charging based on what people can pay or what they should pay? So if you're in a service industry where there's like lower demand, like high choice or opportunity for, so like a low demand industry, whatever it might be, you're going to have to price competitively to get that. But if it's in a super high demand industry, you can price whatever you want.
Yeah. Like demand-based pricing, isn't
it? Yeah, so it's like that, like dynamic pricing, like what we were saying before.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things is like I was in this I won't name the place, but a kids soft play.
Oh yeah.
And I was just stood waiting to get in. People were queuing to get in, and there was this like notice on the board of like price increases, and it was like a letter, and I'm talking like paragraph,
right?
Like 3 paragraphs of why they were putting the pricing up.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's interesting, like how concerned the business owner is about putting their price up.
Yeah.
They felt it was necessary to articulate it in that way about how they're being perceived.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe they should just take the agnostic view. Prices have changed.
Yeah, prices have gone up.
So sometimes I think business owners can overthink pricing as well.
Yeah, that's where the guilt's come in for that business owner, thinking, oh my God, if I increase prices, people may not come to my soft play now because it might be too expensive.
Yeah, but actually as the consumer in that sense that they're just accustomed to everything's going up in price, so it's kind of acceptable. Like if you're in the pub trade and you've been through a scenario, we've come through this winter, we've got all the national insurance charge, maybe the right thing to do is to change your prices in January.
Yes.
It's quiet anyway.
Yeah.
Change it earlier.
Yeah.
And then people are less sensitive to the price changes that are coming in regularly come April.
Yeah.
And actually, if you're busy and you're doing all right, then just do it.
Yeah.
If you're not and you're quiet already, well, you've probably got other problems in your business doing marketing, or maybe you're not cleaning the toilets enough in the pub, or like how shiny is the object that you're selling? Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to make it more attractive.
Absolutely.
And if you're a more attractive positioning for your target customer, you can afford to charge more, can't you?
Yeah, and the customers will come.
Yeah, I mean, so like that kind of idea of, have you ever explained a price rise publicly? How did it go? Like if you think about our suppliers, when it's that time of year where they've got to put the prices up, and it's like, So we've had things. There's been a lot of cost. And
material costs have gone up.
Ukraine,
labour costs.
it's Donald Trump's fault.
It's
like, really, is it?
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. It's anticipated by us in it. Every year there's going to be a cost increase.
Yeah, we get it. It's them, but what they're not seeing, our suppliers, is that we can see across the whole. So, like, why has this one supplier put the price up this much?
Yeah.
This one's only done 2%, and they don't have that awareness. So, from their perspective, they've got to, like, if you're going to put your prices up significantly, you've either got to take the view, well, supply and demand. We're a high demand brand at the moment. We can afford to put our prices up, and if it chokes off some of the volume, that's great, because we don't actually want to grow this year.
No, we're going to make more money anyway by putting the prices up.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very interesting, like, debate, pricing, when you think about it. How heavily it's linked to, like, profit, cash flow, revenue through the door. It's such a sensitive issue.
It's very delicate as to where you choose to price, isn't it?
Yeah, we're currently reviewing a key partner for our business that generates some revenue, like, I'll say it's the SEO side of things.
Okay,
like, we're going through, and I'm booking multiple calls with multiple SEO agencies, and we're testing the market. We've paused the relationship for the short term with the agency we've been working with, not because they've not been doing a good job, but because the market is so volatile at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm happy with the guys there. I feel like the landscape's changing.
Well, it is, definitely is. There's big shifts happening, isn't there?
Yeah, but for them, they need to charge a certain price, and I'm going out to market now. I'm going to be looking at pricing.
Yeah.
Now, I could go out and get a cheaper price, but the quality of work might not be as good.
Yeah, what's the service going to be like?
So it can be like, right, well, I've saved £300 a month on my SEO partner or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not about that.
No.
It's actually about what the value is.
Yeah, the delivery of work may be different.
Yeah.
Saving £300.
Exactly. See, sometimes from perspective of you pricing your services, like, be confident in what you're offering.
Stand behind your service.
Yeah.
You know what it's worth, what value it can add to another business.
Yeah.
And charge accordingly.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think we'll close it off there. There's been a lot kind of covered off there to do with pricing. The next episode is quite a meaty one.
Okay.
So episode 15 next week, so the silent epidemic, founder loneliness.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be quite a deep episode, that, talking about the challenges of, I suppose it's like founder loneliness if you're a solo entrepreneur, or if you're, like, in a specific role in your business, like, say, MD for me, like, everyone looks to me in difficult times. There's a lot of challenging things to cover off on that episode. So we're talking about that next episode. If you've made it to the latter stages of this, we really appreciate you listening. Make sure you like, commenting. If you've got any questions, let us know. Make sure you subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
Thank you very much.